Good afternoon.
Afternoon, everybody.
Hi. So that's... If I need it, yeah.
Okay, welcome to the press conference ahead of Newcastle United v Borussia Dortmund. We'll have Eddie Howe now until past, followed by Sean Longstaff. If there's anyone in the room who needs English-German translation, please let one of the guys know to the side. We'll give you a headset. Okay, we'll start with Keith Downey, Sky Sports.
Hi, Eddie.
Hi, Keith.
Nice to see you.
You too.
It feels as though the City is still on a high following that win against PSG a couple of weeks ago. I guess that the hope is that the fear was struck into other teams across Europe with that. Are you hoping that you've put fear into Borussia Dortmund ahead of this match?
Yeah, I think when you're in my shoes, I don't think you necessarily look at it that way. You look at the game in isolation. So we've been preparing and planning for this game since our last one. Tough game ahead. I think the beauty of the PSG game, looking back, was the whole environment created by the supporters. And I think that we need to forget the PSG result, take the confidence from it, but forget it and try and create that atmosphere all over again. And for us, try and recreate those energy levels and intensity levels and quality of our play to try and win the game.
In terms of the quality of opposition, I guess the colour that will come with the fans from both sides, the standards of opposition, it's another great game for your team to have in this competition, a real top test.
Well, I think that's how we need to look at it, is another real top test. This group was always going to be that way. So you go from AC Milan to PSG to Dortmund. I mean, it's great to be involved in. But as we said at the start of the group, we knew that this was a really tough examination of us. This is a key period in it now. We've made a good start, but we can't get ahead of ourselves. We just have to focus on what's ahead of us. And this is a pivotal game in the group, I think.
Are there any new injury worries from the weekend? And where are you with both Joe Willock and Sandro Tonali, who were both training today?
Yeah, Sandro's fit, fine. Obviously things going on, but the same as he was before Crystal Palace. Willock's getting closer with every day that passes. Sven is still out. I think apart from that, we're pretty similar.
Okay, Damien Spellman, then Lee Ryder. Damien?
Eddie, does the fact that... Sorry,
couldn't find you.
Does it enter your head that a win could put you in pole position to qualify for this from this group?
Well, I think we take a break from the Premier League. So, of course, we have to hone in now on this competition. It's a totally different thing. So, yeah, we're aware of where we are. This game is a crucial game in the group because following this game, we have two really tough away games. So we know the task at hand. We know it's not going to be easy, but as I say, we have to use everything that we have in our armoury to try and win the game. The crowd's going to be key. Our own performance obviously going to be key. And we need to make it as difficult as we can for Dortmund.
Lee Ryder, then Jordan Cronin.
Eddie, the last game against PSG, the players were jumping in and getting the tackles in and then jumping up and celebrating the tackles. I mean, that's something great to see for the supporters.
Yeah, I think that showed where we were mentally. We were pumped for the game. The crowd were pumped for the game, and the two things together created a great thing for us. And I think from our side, it's not lost that we need to create that again. So whether we celebrate tackles or not, I don't know, but we need to recreate that level of intensity and that level of alertness that we were at. I think we're almost for that game, we're in the perfect place mentally. It's difficult to put yourself there. The circumstances need to create that. So that's where we've got to be again.
Jordan and then Craig Hope.
Hi, Eddie. Just one on Alexander Isak. Obviously got a big move to Dortmund, age 70. Didn't quite work out for him. Do you feel there's any part of the player that has a point to prove against his former club tomorrow?
I guess one for Alex to answer, but I think for me, I'm really pleased with where he's at. Really pleased. Of course, with the West Ham game, his last start for us, I thought he was outstanding. Then he picked up a slight groin problem, but I think he's back to full fitness, fingers crossed, and he's trained really well in the build-up to this game. So I'm delighted where his career's at and where his performances have been for us. I can't speak about his time at Dortmund. That's something I'm not... I don't have enough information on that. But I'm sure Alex will want to do well because it's our next game.
And does picking between Alexander Isak and Callum Wilson get any easier for you as time goes on?
I think the beauty of it is this year compared to last year is just the amount of games we have. I think it makes... Sometimes the decision is made for you just because of... I've said before, both players are in different stages of their careers, and with the amount of games, I think it's really nice to pick and choose the opponents for the player.
Craig and then Luke Edwards.
Hi Eddie, do you expect Sandro to be available tomorrow, or is there a feeling now that news from Italy is close?
I think as far as I'm aware, I'm expecting him to be available tomorrow. I think I'm in a position where I'll plan like that until told differently. I can't second guess what's going to happen, so he's trained today and he's available.
There was a feeling that UEFA don't want him to be involved. Has that been communicated to you at all or not?
No, if that's the case, you know more than I do. I've heard very little because preparing the game and everything that goes into that, so I'll wait and hear if anything concrete comes through.
And just lastly, the reception he got on Saturday, have you spoken to him about that? How is he on the back of that?
No, I haven't. I think it was emotional at the end for him. I think that was clear to see for everybody. But I think that I said after the game sat here, I think that will help him long term, because I think he'll always be able to reflect back into that love that he got from the supporters in that moment when he really needed it. So I think that will help his long-term relationship, hopefully with the supporters. But as I say, beyond what's going to happen tomorrow and the next day, I don't know at this moment.
Luke Edwards and then Dominic Sker.
Just a couple, please. Just one on Tonali. Have you had any meetings with the board yet to discuss anything to do in terms of replacements?
No, it's a bit too early for that because we don't know what's going to happen. So I know there's a lot of rumours going around, but until we hear for definite, no, January and everything that will entail. We'll have time to prepare a strategy if we need one for that moment, but it's not yet.
And you spent an evening with Kevin Keegan last night. How was that, and what did you take away from it?
I think a few of you were there, weren't you? So you tell me.
I was wearing a baseball cap.
Well, I really enjoyed it. I don't know how it was, genuinely, I don't know how it was perceived, but for me, the chance to meet him personally and to speak with him and spend time with him was a brilliant thing. He's just got such a great personality. He was in really good form, really positive, a lot of jokes, a lot of laughter, but also a lot of emotion. And I could sense his emotion towards Newcastle. I could sense the emotion coming back from the people that were in the room. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope he did. And I'd love to get him back here again in some way to get the supporters to show their appreciation to him too.
Did he say he wanted you to win the Champions League? Or you're going to win it?
You might have took in more than I did at that moment. I'm not sure.
Dominic Sker.
Just in terms of your B list for tomorrow night, you mentioned no Louis Miley potentially. Are there any other young players who could be given that opportunity and named on that list for tomorrow?
No, I don't think so. I don't think there'll be huge changes to that list. We train with a group of players, and unless we had a real injury crisis, I wouldn't necessarily bring anyone else into it.
And Matt Richie pictured very much front and centre in training and involved. What's his role been behind the scenes going into these matches despite not being in the squad?
Well, Matty's been a role model for a lot of the players, really, in how you conduct yourself every day. His training attitude has been first class. He's very loud on the training pitch. He's a real leader. So you need characters like that. You need people that bring the energy and the enthusiasm to training sessions. That's been a really good thing to see from Matty, because he's not been necessarily used on the pitch, but he is trained as if he's starting, and that's a huge thing for me. And it's so important you have players within your squad that fill their roles to the maximum that they can. And also, he's still got high quality. We did a training session a few days ago where I thought he was excellent. So if needed, he can play too.
Simon and then Joe. Simon?
Eddie, the results so far suggest that the team's adapted really well to the demands of the Champions League. Is that how it feels to you? And have you started to see what the team are learning from being in this environment?
Yeah, it's early days, I think, to draw too many conclusions, and that's why we have to stay very level and not get carried away in terms of our perceptions of ourselves. We have to prove in these early stages of the Champions League that we're good enough. And I still feel need to be in that mindset going into this game. We have to start from zero every game. We have to impose ourselves on our opposition and do everything we can to try and win. Long-term conclusions and lessons that they will be sort of towards the end of the competition for me.
Joe and then Martin Hardy.
Hi, Eddie. Before the season, Jamal Lascelles talked about relying on Trippier and Bruno, players like that, for these big nights. Do you feel like Lascelles himself and the rest of the squad are learning how to adapt to the demands of playing in the Champions League against some of the continent's best teams?
I think with every experience we have with every game, I think those experiences do all the players the world of good, because it is slightly new to us this season, the amount of games, the intensity of the games, the non-stop nature of then returning from one competition to another. So we're learning to deal and adapt to that. I've got to say, so far the focus going into every game has been spot on from the players. They've been able to regroup, re-energise themselves and then deliver another performance. Now, that is the challenge for us, to maintain that and find that consistency as we go through the season.
Okay, time for three more. Martin first, then Oscar.
Hi, Eddie. I'm imagining at the start of the competition, if you'd had the chance of reaching 7 points by game 3, you would have snatched somebody's hands off, yeah?
Yeah, I'll agree with your terminology, yes, because I think with the Milan away being a really difficult game, and we experienced that, was a very tough game for us. We did really well to come out with a point in that game, and then the PSG game was a massive result for us. And now if we can follow that up again, that's our challenge. We'll be in a good position, but it's a big if at this moment in time, because we know the quality that Dortmund have.
And to follow up on Simon's question there, how far has the team evolved and how quickly and how well from them opening stages at the AC Milan game, which, as you said, was very difficult, to where you are now?
I'd like to think we're in a stronger position. I think we start with a bit more understanding of the dynamics and what's going to happen to us, what we're going through. But that's why I'm reluctant to draw too many long-term conclusions, because, as I say, we're still very early. This is only our third game, so this will be a big test.
Eddie, just going back to last night with Kevin and what Luke said, he said you could still win the Champions League and the league this season. He said it's possible, you've got to dream. How does that sit with you? Are you a dreamer too?
Yeah, I think you have to be a dreamer, but I think if I can try and add some context to what he was saying, he's saying you're in the Champions League, so you have a chance to win it. And I agree with that, because if you're in a competition, you have to have that mindset that you try and win. You try and win every game and then see where it takes you. That's very much my mindset. What I don't want to do is heap a load of pressure onto the players at a time when they don't need it, because they've got enough to deal with this season. So it's small steps, it's next game, and we know how big this one is.
What's the one thing you can take from meeting him that can help you in delivering that elusive first trophy, which is your stated aim?
Trying to tie me down to one thing. I think that's difficult with Kevin, because I think he's such a charismatic person. I think that's probably the thing I took from him. Maybe he was full of laughter and jokes, really relaxed, but just seemed in a really good place in his life. And I think it's difficult to find one thing, but I just enjoyed being with him, and I'd love, as I say, to spend more time with him and bring him back to the football club.
Simon?
Eddie, how important is doing well in the Champions League in terms of putting Newcastle on the map as being an elite club in Europe in the minds of rivals and players for the future?
Yeah, I think it's a byproduct of doing well in the competition. My aim and our aim is to try and win a trophy. I'm not shy of saying that that's the ultimate aim. Whatever competition that is, we'll try and do our best. But I think the better you can do in the high-profile competitions, then the more you can improve your name, your whatever it be, to whatever area that you're trying to reach. It can only help you.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Sean will be with you very shortly. Thanks.
Thank you. Cheers. Nice to see you.
Oh,